Once you've signed up for something like Google Analytics or the Google Search Console, you have to verify to Google you actually own the website. And one of the easiest ways of doing that is you can download a file that Google will provide. So you download that file to your hard disk, and you then use the FTP program to transfer that file from the hard disk up to the root directory of your web server. And you then go and tell Google to test to see if that file's arrived up at the server okay. And if it has, you've just proved to Google you own the website, so you've now been verified. So I'd strongly recommend you actually install FTP and set it up for your particular web server. And once you've done that, it can just stay there just in case you ever need it in the future, because it can get you out of an awful lot of problems sometimes, the ability to directly transfer files up and down, from your local hard disk to your web server without actually using something like WordPress. As an example, a little bit technical, but if you are using WordPress, sometimes you might want to install a theme or a plugin that's too large for WordPress to handle on its own. WordPress actually can handle any sorts of sizes, but when WordPress is installed on various hosting services, by default it's always capped, so you can only have a certain large file size. There are different ways of upping the file size if you want to, but one way of getting around that limitation completely is to just use FTP to drag files up to your WordPress server. But that's the sort of thing we cover in a WordPress course, but it's just an example. Now here's an example of what the FileZilla FTP program would look like. So in this particular case, as you can see, I've got loads and loads of different websites here, but this particular one here, I've got a website called For SEO Seminars, and I've just sort of put the relevant information in here. So I'm saying, let's use file transfer protocol, let's use a login, there's my user address and my password, and all I have to do once I've supplied all the information is click on connect. And then down here I'm seeing the local drives, in this case a thumb drive, and over here I'm seeing the web server. Now what you see over here will vary slightly from one hosting company to another, but if you kind of scroll down here, you'll normally find something like www, or sometimes it's called public HTML, but you'll find something like that, and if you double click on that, that actually is the root directory of your server. If you're not quite sure where it is on your particular instance, because as I say, it can vary slightly from one machine to another, just call your hosting company and they'll give you some advice. But literally, if you wanted to, say, transfer this file from here to here, I won't actually do it. I would just select it here, drag it up here, and that's it. So that's how you'd move files, like a verification file from Google, from your local hard disk or thumb drive, whatever, up to your root directory. Again, I don't want to get into WordPress too much, but if you have got WordPress installed, you'll notice, amongst other things, it installs 3 primary folders here. And if you go to WP Content, that's where it puts your plugins and your themes and other bits and pieces. Also in this case, I've got a plugin called Updraft, and what that does is it backs up the server, it backs up my website in this case I think every week. If I go into the subdirectory here, you can see these are all the backup files. In this particular case, there's a set of 5 files for each backup. So if I wanted to grab all of these, those are just log files, not interested in those. So if I wanted to grab all the backup files, I'd just simply select them, like so, all the ones I wanted. So let's say I just wanted those. And again, I won't actually do it, but you'll get the idea. I just simply drag that from here down to a particular subdirectory down here.